Over the past couple days, we have been working on a platform for our 2011 Subaru Outback. We've done a lot of research and watched a lot of videos on people who convert their Subarus, who build platforms in their own SUVs, people who convert larger scale vans, and we kind of put all of those ideas together and came up with a design that works best for our vehicle. So we came up with a 3-part design, and that is what we're going to show you now. So we broke our design into 3 parts. This first part you can see is just a piece of birch plywood that we created 3 legs going vertical across the length of the car. The first part actually stops a little bit past where the wheel well is, and you can see that we screwed in these 3 legs in order to create some stability. We also used wood glue underneath in order to just really increase the stability. We wanted this setup because we really wanted to prioritize having enough storage for when we're on the road. So you can see that the storage for this compartment alone, for this piece alone, it spreads pretty far back. We have some tools all the way back here already, you can see. So this will be plenty of room to either put containers in. We'll have a dog along the way with us, so we could slide a whole bag of dog food under there. It'll just ultimately come in handy when we're on the road and needing to store things.
And we're going to move around and check out part 2 and part 3. Over here they're connected with each other, and as you move into part 2, you notice there's a difference between that and part 3. Part 3, everything runs vertical with the length of the car, and then for here in part 2, what we did was we ran them horizontally. That way it would give us some storage underneath. Did the same thing. We followed a line, screwed everything in, used wood glue, things like that. And this time what we decided to do also was put a support in the middle, because it's going to be pretty much the most weight bearing as well as holding tightest as we travel, but it still gives us the basic necessity of having these cubbies underneath. Underneath here there's cubby 1, and then on the other side it mirrors, it's the same, cubby number 2. But part 2 then also transitions into part 3, and as you can see right now, part 3 does not fully extend. We would have the ability to do this with both seats with each other if we wanted to prop it up, or kind of what we also have in place is a support system that would keep our heads up, because this is where our heads would be, but then the seats would have to be fully forward. So as right now this isn't fully extended, we could show you that if you like, but for now let's fold this back and look at our support system underneath. I'll have Sarah hop in front and I'll kind of explain. So as you can see, there's 2 boards there. Our friend Tom had a fantastic idea of avoiding kind of having 2 poles that would support and run to the base of the floor, but here we have 2 hinges that would fold out basically where our heads would be to support the weight. I'll actually come around to the other side real quick. And if you notice here, we also have this bungee. This bungee here would hold these in place so things aren't rattling when you're driving or hitting a bump. As you can see, these fold out pretty easily. It would fold out, and then this 3rd piece would come all the way down if we want to maximize our space. But as you can see right now, seats are kind of back. So that's pretty much how part 3 works. So like what Sarah said, again, 3-part system. Part 1 here, we had those vertical fins or supports that would run the length of the car. Here we went horizontal, so we give 2 cubbies. And then part 3 would fold out to the back of these seats here, and we have this long hinge here, pretty easy to install as well. But that's our 3-part system.
So here's what everything looks like completely laid out. We have these 2 supports lifted up on this headrest, as well as the seats pushed right up against this headpiece just for extra support. There's plenty of room up in these front seats if we wanted some additional storage, if we want to put the cooler up there while we're sleeping, or if the dog wants some space and he wants to go curl up there, there would be plenty of room for that. If you're even taller and want just more additional headspace or room for something else up here, the seats can keep going forward, and that'll give you a little bit of extra space. We did toy around with the idea of putting an additional leg here, but with all of these extra supports in place, we really don't think that we would need that. But if you did want to give yourself some extra room, you could play around with the idea of an extra leg coming off. of this third piece right here. So Zach is going to get in and model for us. And he is about 6 foot, so there should be plenty of room for him to stretch out with the trunk closed. How you feeling in there?
Fantastic. So as you guys can see, that was our 3-part system. Super nifty. We can take it apart if we need to, move things out, replace pieces pretty easily. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys have any questions or things like that, feel free to comment. We'd love to help you out in any way possible. You know, we could also show you guys our specs or things like that if you need measurements, or you know, any ideas that you want to make it longer, if you're one of those taller people. But yeah,
we found it super helpful to watch YouTube videos with other people's designs. So we thought that it would be helpful to share what works best for us. And like Zach said, we can help out in any way, and we hope to share more of our little adventure mobile along our journey.
Yep, and make sure you stay tuned, because I think the next video we may try and make or show you guys what it looks like fully furnished too. So stay tuned.